Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the week of June 6th through June 12th, 2022. This is a general reading, so feel free to take whatever resonates and leave behind for others whatever does not. To dive deeper into what the week holds for you, check out your readings for Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. In this first column, we examine a puzzle you've been trying to solve. In this second column, we find key pieces of the puzzle. And in this third column, we get advice on how the pieces fit together for you. Okay, so in terms of the puzzle you're trying to solve, you have the Copperhead, deception, bad influences, Four of Cups, Knight of Cups, Three of Swords. In terms of the key pieces of the puzzle, you have freedom, the Fool, the Magician, the World card, and advice, you have this Connect to Source card. Ten of Swords, Queen of Cups, and the Hierophant. So, kind of right off the bat, I noticed that the key pieces of the puzzle are major arcana cards, life lessons, spiritual lessons, and the advice on fitting the pieces together have this connect to source with the Hierophant and Queen of Cups, a sense of like spirituality and freedom are kind of going hand in hand. In terms of the puzzle you're trying to solve, this Copperhead card, the card kind of is about how back in the day there were, snake handlers that would kind of use poisonous snakes to show their faith and their dedication to God, whatever the religion they were selling or whatever it was they were selling, and kind of see, tempt the snakes to bite them. And with this deception, bad influences, it's kind of a card to kind of indicate that, certain people do things to deceive you under the guise of being truthful and honest. It also talks about, basically toxicity. And that can be from other people. That could even be from ourselves. And there's also the concept of jealousy as well. Like being aware of your dark side, insecurities, doubts. And here with this Three of Swords, kind of indicates that there's some deception, some betrayal, some hurt. And with the Knight of Cups, it indicates a sense of, it's blood red heart, and the Knight of Cups kind of indicates that there was some deception when it comes to romance, offers of love, messages of love. And with this Four of Cups, it's a sense of possibly not being aware of the situation, not recognizing the signs possibly. In this Four of Cups, this person is kind of was it, in the midst of introspection to the point of not seeing this hand here offering this cup below that has a rainbow kind of jumping out of it or into the cup. So it's almost like a lack of awareness because of being too busy thinking about what you don't have or what it, isn't yet. So let's take a look at this Three of Swords. Maybe it's a puzzle of how did this happen? How did I not see this true intention? How did I not see the person's, dark side type of thing? You have Five of Cups. That is a sense of loss, grieving, sadness. So here, even though, you can say, well, just heal the wounds, turn around and see the upright cups and cross the bridge to the castle and move on. You know, it's easier said than done. Sometimes the swords, uh, they don't, the injury from the swords, they don't heal at the same time. You might get over the initial, shock or upset, but it might take more time to, deal with the betrayal aspect, or it might be that you don't feel, shame or understand that what you're feeling is shame about a situation until much later. That's just an example. And basically, it only takes one sword to pierce the heart. So with three, it's like three injuries. And with the cups, basically you need to look at what was there to appreciate, the good things, to learn from the not so good things, to even learn from the good things, and kind of to see, where is it there were certain moments to be cherished and moments that will just probably fade away. So it's definitely not to dwell in the past, but it looks like there is significant emotional and emotional loss and anguish going on. So let's take a look at this Knight of Cups. You have the Ten of Cups here. And Ten of Cups is a card that kind of indicates like you're happy ever after. So perhaps some of you thought that there would be this, marriage, kids, commitment, and happy ever after. What's interesting about the Ten of Cups is that in the traditional Ten of Cups, and even noted here by this curtain, is the scene of like the parents kind of embracing each other and the kids dancing around happen on a stage. And that begs the question of whether or not it's true happiness, it's a perception of happiness, it's going through certain actions and motions to like indicate or reflect happiness without actually feeling it. But the thing about the Ten of Cups is the ability to experience a range of emotions and learn from them, not avoid them, process whatever emotion that you're feeling, and to be able to get back to a center, a place of being grounded, and to be able to communicate those emotions honestly with, whoever it is that you decide to be your partner, your significant other. So let's see what's going on with the Four of Cups. You have the Sun card. And this is in a sense of, it's usually a sense of joy and happiness and enlightenment. But the thing that I'm focusing on that's not depicted in this Sun card is the nude child that's traditionally depicted on a white horse that indicates a sense of purity and innocence. So for some of you, it could be, you feel this person had betrayed your sense of innocence. Maybe you feel like you were a bit naive about the situation, um, and just hopeful. Perhaps that's why it wasn't, um, something that was clear to you. Perhaps you put this person on a pedestal or were kind of blinded by the potential. And so it's kind of, this is the puzzle you're trying to solve. And this key piece of the puzzle, this freedom card, indicates, what to do once you have freedom, but also reflects the concept of not having freedom and being restricted and caged in. So to some degree, it may be that during this period you were caged in by possibly false ideas, hopes that weren't really, didn't have justification or, factual information to back it up. It was mainly being in the moment and feeling happy about it, and having certain expectations. Um, and maybe there's a sense of fear of being in the moment again, allowing yourself to open your heart and be hopeful. But here with the Fool and the World card, it is a sense of recognizing uh, that every ending has a new beginning, and every new beginning will have an ending somehow. And it's an opportunity to use the skills and talents that you have learned. With the Magician, this is a, a confident individual that is co-creating with spirit, that's using their natural talents, their skills, even ones that they've learned along the way in their journey, and the resources available to this individual to manifest the reality that they want to live in. And what's interesting is, even though this magician has their head kind of down and looking down, a magician has to be very aware of their environment in order to know what it is they need to manifest. They have to be able to see what's around them, what's fact, what's fiction, what's hope, what's reality, and be able to see through facade, but also not only of other people, but in themselves. And, for some, it's that this sense of freedom here is something perhaps you might not appreciate when you had it. You know, the sense of being able to take on any opportunity to open your arms to something new. You may have done it here, but there seems to be a certain expectation that wasn't met, as opposed to just letting life happen, without any expectation and control other than opening your arms and heart to a new experience and really enjoying it for what it brings. And, perhaps over here there were certain like markers. Well, if this person does this, then I'll do that. If this person, texts me multiple times, it must mean that. Or if this person asks me out on this date, this means that they must feel that way. Those are kind of assumptions and expectations, but the Magician is about uh, communication. And the reason why I say that is the planet associated with the Magician is Mercury, and that is a planet of communication and the intellect. So this is very kind of key. And so with this freedom here, it's kind of begs the question of what is it that you are going to do with this freedom? Are you going to, did you give up your power, whatever you think is your power, your strength in this situation? Is that part of the reason why there's, upset and disappointment, things along those lines? So let's take a look at the Fool, because that is really a card about taking a leap of faith and feeling free to experience whatever life has to offer. And that is the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is about work. It is about like using your talents and skills to, putting your desire, your passion, your time and intention on something to create something of value in the future. But it's also a sense of being connected to everything, like, knowing that you're just rocking it at work, or know that you're just, really kicking butt in a certain subject, or you're an expert in a certain area, and really kind of almost anything that you want, you're in the right place, right time for it, because you've been working towards those things, working to make that happen. So it's a sense almost as now that you have this freedom to kind of work on, again, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and experience life as it comes. So let's look at the World, because that's a sense of almost like it's accomplishment and also a rebirth, going on a new journey. You have the Nine of Wands, and this is a card of preparing for a situation where you are kind of drained of energy, but you still need to do it. This could be something that you said you wanted to do. Maybe you changed your mind, but ultimately it's about not having boundaries set up in the first place, and kind of taking on a lot where you're just like carrying the weight of a lot of things. Perhaps it's because you didn't communicate, or you find yourself in a situation more where you are carrying the weight of a, a task, a job, an assignment, a relationship, um, because of just wanting to feel that sense of accomplishment and not being aware of the energy it takes to do all these things. Perhaps you want people to be happy, and so you would prefer to suffer for their happiness. Um, but if they don't appreciate what you do, it makes it even more disappointing that you have to do these things. So, communicating your truth, even, is something that uh, seems to be an issue here. Communicating your truth to yourself and to others. But what's interesting is, there's this concept of freedom, kind of to do whatever it is that you want to do to, experience new things, um, to create whatever it is you want. But it's difficult to communicate your thoughts to people. It's difficult to even understand motivations, your own motivations sometimes. It's difficult to um, be vulnerable or to put yourself in a situation where you think you might hurt someone else's feelings. Uh, so in a sense, it's, our fears about how someone's going to take what we say, uh, kind of put us in a cage as well. But to some degree, uh, we're not that important individually. There's something greater than each of us. There's something greater than me. Um, and there's the collective to think about. So, to some degree, um, not using your words is both a cage, and fear of using them is a cage. So here, the Six of Cups kind of wanted to come out to clarify the Magician. This is a sense of balance and harmony. In the traditional Six of Cups, there are, I think it's like two children kind of with these cups of flowers, indicates sense of help and assistance and a sense of community. So here I was kind of talking about being aware of what's around you, being aware of the environment, and also recognizing there's something greater than just ourselves at play, and to be connected to that something greater is kind of what I think the advice is. And connect to source, go within to discover what needs to be done, create the shift required to attract what you want. This card is about connecting to you, your wants, your needs, and to spirit, to the universe, to source, whatever it is that you believe is your higher power, and kind of that co-creating with source to manifest what it is you need. With the Queen of Cups, this is definitely a card of um, being connected to a higher power, to your higher self, to your intuition, and connected to people in general. Just being nurturing, compassionate, being able to, um, connect with people on a level where that fulfills a certain need, however that needs to be. And the Queen of Cups, cups are associated with the element of water as are you, Pisces. But so are queens. Queens are correspond to the element of water. So this is like intuition and emotion squared, where it's pretty much, you know, double of whatever uh, basic emotion or general emotion a queen would have, or the cups would have. So here it's a sense of really following your heart, being connected to something greater than yourself, um, and that includes connections to true connections to others, as opposed to having certain expectations of what those connections um, should be. But with the Hierophant here, it's also a sense of another card to indicate a connection with source or higher power, higher knowledge. It also indicates possibly a certain practice or study to help you get there. This could be uh, practicing mindfulness, practicing yoga, breathing techniques, certain things to help you feel connected to your body, to be in the present time, and kind of focus your attention to how you feel, how you interact with the environment, and then kind of exploring that. With the Ten of Swords, it's almost as if it's saying, hey, you've really perhaps overanalyzed everything, and the answer is not something that you're going to find on paper. You just need to kind of connect to yourself, connect to a higher power, do some healing, and learn from things. It's also a sense of, be careful of how you use your words, be careful of who you trust. But if you are more in tune with yourself, more aware of your surroundings, um, more connected to something greater than yourself, perhaps it'll, help you, shift a perspective so you attract the good stuff and not the copperheads. So let's take a look at the Queen of Cups here. You have this Judgment card. It's answering the call. It's answering the call of the angel, the higher power. Are you going to step outside of, the box that you created for yourself? Are you going to go through this threshold? Are you going to be able to embrace life um, and embrace life without the baggage? This does require honest reflection of the past, your actions, your beliefs, the things you said, things you didn't say, and recognition of how you contributed to a situation that resulted in the way it did. It's not necessarily saying take all the blame, you're the worst. That's not at all what it's saying. It's recognize the power that you had, the agency that you had in the situation, and how it is you came to a certain place based on the situation that you were facing at the time. Acknowledge those things, accept your actions, accept what you did, and get rid of the baggage. Get rid of any shame, guilt, upset, um, and embrace this call to experience freedom from this past situation. So let's take a look at this Ten of Swords. You have the Queen of Wands. So for some of you, It may be that this Queen of Wands is someone that you trusted or someone you were trying to be like that led to a situation where you hit rock bottom. Um, for others, it may take someone around you who is um, really full of energy and full of passion to help you up off the ground and see your potential. So let's take a look at the Hierophant over here. This has the Nine of Cups. And this is a sense of self-satisfaction, being fulfilled, being confident, um, and being able not only to fill your own cup, but to fill the cups of others as well. So this kind of puzzle doesn't seem too puzzling. It's basically this concept of what do you feel restricted by? Does that sense of freedom scare you more than entice you? And how are you connecting to something greater than yourself and being aware of your environment and how you're feeling so that you can actually feel good about yourself? And so I'm hoping that this provides a helpful perspective of your week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.